For those that are already in the lifestyle, I'm absolutely a switch. I am daddy's baby girl. This is my collar, but only for daddy. Everyone else, I am Mistress Gidget, 100%. I am an impact top. I am a dominatrix, and I have been in the lifestyle for 30 years. It's been a minute.
With your better half, if you will,
Mhm.
you're a bottom, basically a sub.
I
But when it
am.
comes to anyone else, you're a top.
Correct.
Or
Yeah.
gotcha.
And he's the first person I've ever met in my life that that was anywhere near close to enough of a man to top me.
All right.
That's
That's
awesome.
that's for another show. All right, we have Andy here too. If she's
Oh,
ready to
good.
come on.
Bring out the
There's
secrets.
like the dichotomy of both sides here. So honestly, my little happy face spatula, I'm just saying it's a little just it's so gentle. Believe it or not, it sounds bad, but it's so gentle. It leaves just like a little tiny happy face mark. Super fun. Everybody gets giggles out of it. Every time I pull it out, people laugh. But that's like the funny. I need to lighten the mood. Let me pull something else out, like just to make people laugh. That's extra fun. Other than that, honestly, I think I have 5 of these. They're called Wartenberger wheels. They're it's very little. Hold on. I don't know if you can see. They're
Oh
like
yeah.
little spikes. And
Hmm.
if you push, they will pull blood, but we don't push and unless it's a specifically negotiated scene because I am all about safe, sane, and consensual. 100%. Safe meaning I'm not going to do anything that's going to damage you. I might briefly injure you if we've discussed it, and that's something that you want. Sane. Absolutely 100%. I'm not going to do anything crazy. Consensual means everything that's going to happen, we have talked about in detail. Everything. 100%. Safe, sane, and consensual. 100% of the time. If we didn't discuss it, it doesn't happen. You can ask in the middle of a scene for me to change my flow. It's not going to happen. Next time, what would you like to explore? What is not going to work for you? What is a hard no? And then everybody knows what is your safe word? Sometimes pain is pleasing to some people, and pain will be happening, but that's not always a given. Oh, that's
And
shibari, and that's beautiful. I'm more of a functional rope girl. If I'm going to tie someone, it's quick and functional, and it has one release point: pull and they'll let go. Um,
well, like
yeah,
that.
like that. Exactly, exactly like that. Power exchange is really what BDSM is about. Now, it's not all kink. Not all kinks involve BDSM, but when it comes to BDSM, it's really comes down to that power play, that exchange of power, um, and that shift. Most of the people that I play with as a mistress are very powerful people in their daily lives, and they desperately need and want to be in a position where they can let go, where someone else is in charge and they're told what to do. And it brings them peace, it brings them comfort, and they live to please in those moments. And it brings them joy and sexual excitement. BDSM is bondage, domination, sadism, and masochism. So, bondage, domination is the BD, domination, sadism, masochism, and there's overlap. Um, Obviously, everybody understands what bondage is. Domination, we get. Sadism, for those who don't know, are sadists are those that bring and receive pleasure from giving pain. Masochists enjoy receiving pain. And it's a spectrum. And we've heard a lot about spectrums in the last decade, but it is a spectrum. There is a lot of fine tuning that goes on. The first time you play with someone, for example, you may not know, and they may not know whether they're into pain or not, if that's something that they want or not. They're going to say they're interested, but it's not a hard no. And you'll say, as a dominatrix or a top or a dom, you'll say, okay, well, what do you think about this? And show you a toy. Like, here we go, little flogger. What do you think about this toy? Let me smack your arm with it. How does that feel? It's like a massage. People don't understand floggers. Yeah, they can hurt you, but generally speaking, it's not going to hurt
Something
you.
like a contract that you have with?
Well, I have a contract for slaves, or committed submissives. I generally don't have people sign a contract. It's called topping from the bottom, and every bottom or submissive is actually in control because everything has been discussed. If it hasn't been discussed, it's not going to happen. That said, even the things that have been discussed, you might not be in the mood for that today. You might not realize it until it happens. So we have the down, this is bad. We have the I'm not okay right now, check in. How am I doing? Or we have the I am good to go. Or we have green, yellow, and red if you want verbal. But if you're in a loud dungeon or public dungeon space, these are very helpful. I don't know if you can see the cross behind me, but that's a St. Andrew's cross, and your hands are generally up, which means I can see this. It's very
Gotcha.
helpful. But yeah, as far as what is acceptable, that's negotiated ahead of time. And if it becomes not interesting, not pleasurable, or just not striking you right, that's a thumbs down or a I'm not so sure. And we'll check in and say, okay, well, what is it? Is it too hard? Is it the wrong spot? That's just with impact play. There's electrical play, which is tantalizing. It's sensation play. It hits your nerves. It's just like a little static electricity. It's called a violet wand. Very fun to play with. This is a dragon's tongue.
So what's the difference with the
This
flogger?
has more sting. This has more sting to it. A flogger, depending on the size of the tines or the flogs on the flogger, can be a heavy massage, like a deep tissue massage, or it can be stingy and lightly abrading and everything in between. Floggers are very versatile for that. This is absolutely for those people that want to understand what their pain tolerance is. This is not a whip. Whips are very serious. Do not ever play with somebody who is not experienced with a whip. With a whip.
So when people come over, do they actually want to like a happy ending type of thing, or are they just going
Oh
for
God,
the
no, no,
no? No,
no,
they're not into that? Really?
no, no.
So
If
they
they
come
want
over there
sex,
just to be kind of put in their place for a little bit?
they want to be sometimes restrained. I don't know if you can tell, but those are restraints hanging from the top of my cross. I have two sets there and there. I have ankle restraints as well. I have spreader bars. Some people want to be restrained. Some people want to be blindfolded, gagged, so they can't tell you no, and you have to watch their hands. Um, it's honestly just a matter of where they're at and how open they are willing to be. Because I am 100% open. 100%. What do you want? Tell me what you're interested in, what you know you like, what you think you might want to try, and what's a definite no, and we can start from there.
Really cool. What do you say to people who might think that like BDSM is like physically abusing someone?
Oh, God. Again, with the safe, sane, and consensual, these are things that people have asked for. These are not things that I am doing to them to abuse them. I'm actually doing what they asked me to do. It's a very big difference. When someone says, will you do this for me? Not to me, for me. Yeah, I will do this for you. I will give of myself in the way that you're asking to hopefully bring the response that you're looking for.
But then also, for couples, I would think, those who I know that dabble, it's more
Mhm.
sexual for them because they know what each of them like. And
Yeah.
so let's go downstairs and and there's a cage down there, and so I think that there's a different way to look at this. So,
Of course.
if I'm not mistaken, then the majority of it really is to like you said, a reversal of power. But when it comes to a couple,
It's
I
exchanging of
think,
roles. Like,
yeah,
what's
like
our
that,
normal?
the Shades of
Let's
Grey
mix it
thing,
up.
which made it okay for everyone to get slapped around. But you know what I mean, though, when it, I guess so, like with you and your husband, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I'm sure you visit this room.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
So
play
for
here.
you, so for you, it's a little different, right?
My daddy, he's the only one that tops me. It's the only one that's ever really been able to top me. But when it comes to couples, I get asked a lot by couples because one of the dungeons that I frequent is literally in the same building and next door to a couple swingers club. And they will come over and they will ask, "Can we play with you? Oh, will you spank my wife? She really wants you to spank her, but she's too shy to ask." I said, "Sure, I'll spank your wife and I'll show you how to spank your wife. So she's going to like it. Here's the angle you need." Like, it's silly stuff, but it makes them very happy, and I'm always happy to oblige when it comes to a couple who's just looking to spice things up. Like, they're going to a swingers club and they're just happening to drift over to the dungeon side of the club. It's very entertaining for me, because I get to encourage and I get to educate, which is great. Because honestly, I think everyone should be able to explore their deepest, darkest with their partner.
You personally rather be tied up or in a cage?
Tied up.
Tied up. What about you, Andy?
Absolutely.
Andy?
Cages are kind of useless. You can't get to a body through a cage. And I really enjoy being topped. And I like a good flogger, a good dragon's tongue. I enjoy those things. And you can't really get to me in a cage.
Okay,
Cages
good.
are for punishment, and I'm not about that. I'm about punishment.
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 I'm
I
all about
like
I
that.
love
punishment.
that.
Well,
Um,
you're doing it wrong if you're not having fun. So
well, what is one thing that you think or feel that doesn't get talked about enough, but sort of deserves to get shared about this
aftercare.
lifestyle? Yeah.
Aftercare.
Mm.
Aftercare is where when the scene is done and you're done beating or being beaten or being tickled, which is considered edge play. I mean, tickling is, oh, that's a hard no for most people. Don't tickle me. Like, that's a big deal. If you want to be tickled, that's a thing. But aftercare is when the scene is done and you're checking in as me, as a dom or a dominatrix or top. You check in with your sub or your slave or your bottom. You check in and you cradle, you care for, you make sure during scene they're getting water break. You're taking water breaks. You're checking on them, making sure that they're good. And a lot of times, my aftercare will lead to their partner coming in and they have sex, and that's cool. I'm going to go this way. They're going to go that way. That's fine. Because, again, for a lot of people, this can be sexual.
The people that I know, if you talk about it, they're not. They're like, no, there's no way that can be fun. How does that look like it's fun?
I have a submissive who very much enjoys clothespins along the ball sack or the inner thighs.
Okay,
He
that's
enjoys
different.
that. I'm just saying that's
Huh.
his thing.
Personally,
Well,
I
I
like
like to sit there with
fingernails
my
and the
with
soft
my
touch. But that's just me.
yeah, and I'll sit there with my dragon's tongue and I'll flick him off one at a time and I'll make him count. Now, if he loses count, I put them all back and I start over.
Oh wow! So he comes over and you put clothespins on his ball sack,
Mhm.
and then you hit him with
Which
the
he loves.
flogger.
To be honest, he loves. He loves it.
And every time you ask, he loses count of something, you make him start over.
Yes.
Do you put the clothespin back on or just start where you
Yes.
left off?
I put the clothespins back
Wow.
on the
Okay.
exact same spot because it's extra tender.
All right.
We're at an arcade/bar. And we got to talking toward the end of the night. There was a group of us. I think there was like 8 or 10 of us sitting around chatting. And he said, "My dream is to find a mistress with small hands. My dream is to find a mistress who's small enough bone that she can do this straight up my ass." And I said, "Oh, really? Okay. Let's see how much you can take." He got to hear with one, just so you know. There you go.
Wow, that's.
Tom's
There was a
Well, how do
very
you
long
say to
glove
that? I
involved,
mean, how do
just
you
so you
address
know.
that? Like, congratulations, or
Well, he loved it.
did you have gloves on, or did you go
Oh
with
yeah,
the?
no, there was a very long. I have cattle gloves. They come up. Yeah.
Wow, were you using like a water-based lube, or what are we talking?
No, well, I mean, it depends. It depends on the situation, what's on hand. Astroglide or fisting cream is particularly
Astroglide.
good. hmm Fisting cream is particularly good. It's called elbow grease. Look it up. Elbow grease. It's non-water soluble. Does in a pinch for a hot tub. If you're in a hot tub and need some lubrication for more vanilla activities, more normal activities, um, elbow grease. Highly recommend. That
Appropriately
said,
named.
yeah, that
So,
was.
I'm
You
gonna
wanted something a little different. That was different for me for
no,
sure.
it was different. I'm thinking to myself, all right, somebody would want that, right? So I'm waiting. I'm in the waiting room, and you're like, hey, I got to put these gloves on. I got somebody I've got to attend to. Do you just like go? There's the shower, clean up. Do you have a shower they can
Oh
use?
God, yeah. No, are you kidding? I
Yeah.
require 3 days ahead of time that they do twice a day enemas. I'm not going there if it's dirty.
Yeah, I was just
It's not
thinking that
happening.
could have been a messy day, right? You got carpet.
This particular no, I have rubber flooring
I'm
actually.
just thinking, my God, that's got to hurt, right? I mean, it had to be
Um,
painful. I'm just,
no,
because
no. With the proper lube and the proper time, no. I personally enjoy a little pain on my back and on my ass and on my thighs, inner or outer. Good. That's it. I prefer start there. Um, you take me to a place where my endorphins kick in and I feel happy and drugged. I feel high just from being topped, from being beaten. And I hate using that word because it's not what it feels like to me. But I absolutely, I can come 100% from that. It's not the only way.
without ever having sex.
Yeah.
I was trying to ask about the colors for the different colors and what they mean.
Oh, the colors. Well, I won't go into too much detail because honestly, I have a really bad memory. For example, I can tell you dark green is a daddy dom, someone who likes to nurture and help grow and give and teach, just like a dad would teach a child. So that's a daddy dom. I have a daddy. This is my collar. I'm a baby girl. He gives me gifts. He nourishes me. He plants me and fertilizes me and waters me and makes sure I get sun so that I can grow. That's a daddy dom. That's a dark green. Um, there are different colors. You can look up the hanky code, hanky, Hanky, hanky code, and that'll tell you the different colors. My lock. It can come off if you have an Allen wrench. It's the right size.
Allen wrench. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, what does this picture say to you?
I see 4 pups. Pups is a different type of play. It's a animalistic situation. A lot of people like um, drinking and eating from bowls and having a collar on and being taken on a lead and taken on a leash. But it looks like they're looking to her as a lead of their pack. That's what it looks like to me.
they're
Mhm.
all seem to be bowing down to her, but she's restrained.
Well, she has restraints on. She's not actively restrained. I mean, I
Yeah.
can see the loops are not tied to anything, but she is.
She's the
Maybe
queen.
she was like me. Maybe she's a switch who's in charge of them, but not in charge of herself. Aw, that's a cute picture. Okay, so over here, right here, this is where my cart is, like that has water because hydration is important for play. Right past that, on the wall, are some paddles. This is what I call daddy's side. There's some paddles and some canes. Right here is a spreader bar that you would put between someone's ankles if you wanted to immobilize them. Hanging off of here, coming down, are different floggers and dragon's tongues. Obviously, you see the St. Andrew's cross. It has a base here. It's got restraints there and there, which may or may not be used. Another spreader bar, more floggers. You see the little star? That's a little crop. It leaves a very lovely little cartoony rounded star on someone if you hit them hard enough with it, which they beg for. Uh, it's hard to do, to be honest. Um, you can't see, but there are dildos there. Knee pads underneath there. That's a speaker, by the way, because usually I've got the music pumping. Um, this cart here has the violet wand, some needles for needle play, and underneath is the motor bunny buck down here. If you don't know what it is, Google it. It's like a Sibian, except it thrusts. Um, there's also, like I said, a violet wand. Back here, there's candles with a low melting point for wax play.
Well, I wanted to know, how there are plenty of subsequent movies, and
50 Shades.
yes,
Horrible.
yeah,
Horrible.
I wanted to ask,
Yeah.
whether you felt like it really helped or hurt, but it sounded like
Both. Unfortunately, I think
okay.
it's both. I think it helped in making it a little bit more mainstream, but it hurt in that if you've actually read the book or watched the movie, there was very little actual consent happening, which is a problem for anyone's actually in the lifestyle. Safe, sane, and consensual, again, is crucial.
I wanted to know a little bit more about from Andy about like Frolicon and
We walked right into the dungeon, so all of your toys there
Yeah.
definitely were on display, and people were in it. But I think a lot of the purpose of that particular event is a lot to educate, and then of course they would bring in some humor, like the most spankable ass contest,
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. And of course the famous dark room where you just sort of go in and it's all completely dark, and of course when
Yeah.
people walk up to you, they're just kind of feeling around, that kind of thing. Of course you got to consent before you go in there.
Yep.
So and you understand that almost anything can happen, but if you don't want it to happen, it doesn't. You can kind of be eyes on but
Sure.
hands
Yeah.
off, and
Yeah.
or you can be eyes on and hands on. And then some of the after parties you can be eyes on, hands on, and knee deep, so to speak, or
Yeah.
elbow deep if you
Elbow
want.
deep.
And there you go. So yeah, so I think it was a really good thing. I was just a little surprised the first time I came across it because you're like in a hotel, and I felt like, well, isn't that sort of a public space? But they had it all sort of roped off. You had to have a badge to be in the place where you
Yeah.
were. So
There's a lot of
yeah,
festivals like South Plains
yeah.
Leather Festival, Beyond Vanilla. There's like events every year, year after year,
Hmm.
where people get together. You get the tour, you look at the rules, you agree to the rules or you don't. If you don't, you leave. If you agree to the rules, you stay. You follow the rules. If it comes to playing, you have to come up to individual people. It's not like a sponsored event where there's somebody in charge who's going to do XYZ. It's more of individual people. Like I show up, I'm a private person. I show up, I play or I don't play with whomever I choose.
And you get to
There's
use the
no set.
dungeons, what's available from that dungeon. So you actually, once you're there, you're actually able to use whatever they have.
Usually it's furniture equipment like the cross, or I have a massage table for wax or electrical play. I have a spanking bench over there. I have a kneeling bench over here. There's a lot of things you can't see, but most dungeons have pieces or places, like little vignettes, little places where you can play. Toys themselves, most dungeons, you bring your own toys. Or you find someone that you can play with. And that's another part of the rules. You don't judge someone else's kink, because there might be a guy who literally will sit on stage and suck his own cock. You don't get to
I'm
judge
sorry,
that.
what? I'm sorry, what?
There may be a guy who will sit on stage and do self-fellatio. You don't get to judge that. You don't get to judge. You just say, okay, that's his thing. And if it's not your thing and you don't watch that, just don't look. There could be a scene where there's a very hefty woman fisting another very hefty woman, and they're really into it. And a lot of people are watching and they're really into it. If it's not your thing, just don't look, because it's all happening. It's all happening around you the whole time.
Well, it beats a movie.
It does beat a movie.
What do you want to do, honey? Want to go to a movie? No.
No, I want to go to a dungeon.
Gidget's got this freaking awesome
People from
dungeon.
Atlanta, you know, they're pretty kinky anyway.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean, there's that.
It's just a lifestyle
It
where
is.
you experiment a little bit with your own inner self and control.
Yeah,
And for couples, they get to have a little more fun than they normally
more
would.
freedom, you know.
Right. And there's a little place to go, some clubs and things. And once you get used to it, you're not going to feel out of whack. You're not going to feel uncomfortable.
No.
You make some cool friends. And it beats going to Regal Cinemas.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And if you're really lucky,
an
you'll
experience.
be approached by someone like me who will walk up and say, "Hi, is this your first time? Come sit with me. Let's talk about this. Let me show you this other thing." Because they've already been through the tour, they've already gone through the rules, but they're just really shy. Like, especially single guys, they're really shy. And I'm like, there's no reason to be shy. There's no reason to be shy. Nobody here is allowed to judge you. Period. Yeah, it's a judgment-free zone. I walk into a dungeon and half the time within 10 minutes I'm naked. Don't care. I walk into a dungeon and within half the time, within 10 minutes, I'm naked. I'm comfortable and I don't care.
And the newbies are coming in and they're seeing this.
Of course. And I'll walk up naked and shake their hand. Can I shake your hand? I would be glad to message with you, to send you videos, send you pictures, whatever it is that you're into. I got you.